Welcome to episode 1 of Sussed with Sam, proudly brought to you by GME. Behind me is Tony's GME 80 series, and today we're going to be taking a look around it and find out exactly what makes it one of Australia's toughest touring rigs.
On the wave, my own wave, can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane, can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for
G'day guys, I'm Tony Crook and I'm the marketing manager at GME. This is my 1992 80 Series Land Cruiser and we're going to run you through the extensive modifications that have been made to this vehicle. So it actually started life as a champagne 80 Series with a brown interior. It looks a little different now. We've got a full 3M vinyl wrap on the car, nice satin white finish with a little bit of Ivan Stewart inspired livery from that old school Toyota race truck. Starting at the front of the vehicle, we've got a big Razzler high mount winch bar. We've also got a Razzler rear bar with a swing away on it on one side with the tyre, and on the other side we've got the dual jerry cans. The front and rear bars have been linked together by Kinsellas Customs with some custom front and rear brush bars with the sliders tied in. Moving to the top of the vehicle, we've got a custom-made alloy roof rack with a ladder. Now, whilst this roof rack is super strong, because it's alloy, it's light, so we're keeping the weight down as much as we possibly can. On the front of the roof basket, we're running 6 Light Force Striker LEDs, and on the front bar, we've got a Baja Designs light bar tucked up under the central hoop. Also in the front bar, we're running a Warn 8274 high mount, a nice old school mechanical winch, strong as hell, with very little to go wrong. At the front of the car, we've also switched the factory headlights out for a set of custom-made Proline Automotive LED HID combo headlights, and we're running a custom center grille with a nice little old school 40 Series Land Cruiser badge on the front. Now the front bar obviously houses 2 GME whips. They're not both UHF antennas. So on the passenger side, we're running a 6.6 dB UHF antenna, and on the driver's side, we're actually running a cellular antenna, which is connected to a Selfie Go portable repeater inside the vehicle. And then the last obvious modification to the exterior of the vehicle is obviously the 4-inch stainless snorkel from Moonlight Fabrications, running into a Moonlight Fabrications stainless airbox. So we'll pop the bonnet and we'll show you what's going on underneath. All right, so moving into the engine bay, we've kept everything pretty mild in here. We've got obviously the Moonlight stainless snorkel and airbox running into an AECO custom front mount intercooler with a 3-inch Bow Desert exhaust running front to back. We've got a Provent catch can, extended diff breathers right up into the engine bay, and we're also running the first of the 12-volt system under here with a dual battery system. But we'll do a little bit more on that later in the video. The car's been dyno tuned on 15 PSI. It is an old motor, it's got over 400,000 Ks unopened, so we don't want to push the old girl too hard just at the moment. So we've fully rebuilt the factory 5-speed box to factory specs, but we're also running a custom heavy-duty clutch from Western Clutch Service in St Mary's. So to get the power down onto the ground, we've rebuilt both front and rear diffs with Harrop E-lockers, and in the rear diff, we've also replaced the crush spacer with a solid pinion spacer to overcome one of those factory weak points in the rear diff. In terms of wheels and tyres, we're running Dirty Life Mesa 17x9 Neg 38 beadlocks, and we've got Toyo 35x 12.5 inch mud terrain tyres all round. So that pretty much covers the engine and the drivetrain, so I'll shut the bonnet and get underneath and have a look at the suspension. So underneath the car, we've gone to town with the suspension. We've got a full Superior Engineering 4-inch lift in it, so remote res shocks, obviously the whatever the springs Steve found in his workshop that he slapped in. So we've got a Superior Engineering 4-inch lift, running remote reservoir shocks, Superflex radius arms in the front. We've upgraded the drag link, the tie rod. All of the arms in the suspension are adjustable, and we've got comp spec lower arms in the rear. We've also got upgraded slotted rotors on the brakes and upgraded pads to help the old girl stop a little bit better. All right, so it appears that I've become a midget, but now we'll show you around the interior. So starting up front, we've replaced the factory seats with Stratos LTSS 3000 suspension seats, which make a really big difference on those long touring trips. We've also cut out the factory center console and replaced it with a Waco CF11 compressor fridge. On the center console, we've also got switches for the roof lights, for the ARB compressor, and also a separate switch for this fridge to make sure that we don't leave it on when we don't want it on. So we've replaced the factory stereo with a Kenwood double DIN head unit. We're running Alpine Type R speakers throughout the vehicle. We're also running 2 UHFs in this car. So we've got an XRS 330 as our main radio, and we've also got an XRS 390, which is GPS enabled, as the secondary radio. In the center console, we've also hardwired in a handheld charger. So I've always got a 5-watt handheld sitting here, charged and ready to go if we need to spot on a track or someone needs to go for a walk, just in the bush, or dump some asbestos. Maybe a boat. Man, oh man, anything goes. And then rounding out the front of the interior, we've got a trio of red arc gauges on the A-pillar. So we've got 2 pickups on the engine for engine temp. We've got a combined EGT and boost gauge, and we've also got a dual voltage gauge for the 2 batteries under the bonnet. We do also have a 3rd battery in the rear of the car, which is the house battery to run all the 12 volt. And we'll jump into the 12 volt system now because there's a bit going on down there too. It is expensive. I don't ever wish to buy another one again. Ever. All right, so in the back of the vehicle, we've gone pretty hard with the 12 volt system as well. It's all powered by DCS 200 amp hour lithium slimline battery. It sits in here in between the rear seats and the drawer system. That powers a Red Arc Red Vision setup. So we've got the Red Vision TVMS in the rear. We've got a Manager 30, which is charging the whole system. And we've also got a Red Arc 1000 watt inverter, which we use when we're on the road to charge camera equipment and that sort of stuff off the 240 volt. Also running off the rear 12 volt system, we've got full LED camp lighting, both in the rear tailgate and in the side gull wing. And we've also got an ARB twin piston compressor in the rear wing and the ARB 5 litre air tank to make airing up just that little bit quicker. G'day Barry. So in the rear of the car, we've got a fully custom built drawer system from the Department of the Interior. We've really tried to think about this to maximise the space in the back of the wagon, because as any of you know who tour with a wagon, sometimes space can be a bit limited. We've got a Waco CFX 75 dual zone fridge freezer in the back on a custom slide, and arguably one of my favourite mods is this little pull-out table. So when you're having lunch on the road or stopping to make a coffee, this little guy comes in handy. In the driver's side wing, we've got an outlet for the ARB air compressor. We've got 12 volt connections, some USBs, and we've also got a dual switch for the compressor, so that can be turned on from either inside the cab or from the rear of the vehicle. The rear wings here, as I said, house the compressor, the air tank, the inverter, and the Manager 30. So there's a bit going on in the wings, but we've tried to keep the weight down as low as possible.
You saw me make a big cook of it earlier in the day. There's a few cameras and a couple of people watching. Let's see if you can do the same.
No pressure, hey?
That's right, good luck. You won't need it.
Oh, you were dipped out to the back.
Yeah.
Only just. If you give it a baby top. You touched the new sliders, folks.
Well, I've already got a f***ing mark on the rear bar from somebody.
Hey, that wall was there all along, right?
And I quote, "Are you sure?" Yep, back on that.
Flashback.
No, do the left. Oh, sorry, right. Well guys, that's episode 1 of Sus with Sam done and dusted. Huge thanks to Tony and the entire GME team. We've got some insane cars, and I mean stuff you have not seen before, lined up for the rest of this series. The last Thursday of every month is where you can catch Sus with Sam, only on the Sam Young 4x4 YouTube channel. And if you like what you've seen, leave a comment, like, subscribe to us.
It's all that
You already know how to do
do
it, mate.
all... Sorry. Yeah, full old mode.
This is free on RedTube.
You're banned from it. You're banned from YouTube.
Yeah, red flag, like, yeah,
If you're
fuck.
watching this, you found xvideos.com.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is under the stepbrother category.
Shut up.
Yeah, legit. Hey! You didn't bring a gun, did you?
I was going to say, I just took all the guns out of the car. Like, that thing was armed to the teeth.
Bruh, would have been perfect.
Yeah. Shotgun boom! We've got a big Razzler high mount winch. And we've got Toyo Mud Terrain 35 by 12.5 17. Mud Terrain tyres, I already said Mud Terrain, they're muddy. On the other side of the fridge here in the wing, we've got an Jesus. So starting up front, we've replaced the factory drivers and passengers. Jesus. Yeah, just do exactly that, but heaps better.